Hello and welcome to Lion's Heart. In this video, we're going to briefly talk about the ego and what it really is, what the mechanics of the ego are. I'm here in Golden, Colorado, sitting by a river. You can probably hear the background of the creek and the sound of the bugs chirping. Very beautiful here. So just sit back, relax, and open your mind, open your ears, and try to receive the words as best possible. So the ego is, at its core, a survival mechanism. It's used to identify this body with something. So what it essentially is an idea. It's a symbol. And almost everybody, some people don't have one, but it's very rare and usually takes a lot of work to not have an ego. And you could call that person enlightened, and that's a whole nother topic. But almost everybody has an ego. And basically what it is the representation of the one in this body, the quote-unquote me. So the ego stands as a strong symbol for the person that is in this body. So a lot of people think ego is like someone who's very proud, or someone who's very, cocky or defensive, or, like that person has a big ego. But at its truth, ego is simply just a sense of self. So even the most shy, humble, quiet, kind person still has an ego, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a product of survival. And basically what happens as we grow up is we are told that we're, you're John, your X name, and we take that in and we take it in as a belief. So it's actually a social construction. And one way to measure this is just like, imagine if you were born in the Amazon, completely alone, without other human beings to speak to you or explain to you what you are, who you are, and what this would create. I mean, you can kind of imagine this experience. Like, if that happened to you, what would you be? Would you still have these emotions, these thoughts, these ideas, these things that we feel are personal, even the most deeply personal things that we attribute to our personality? I mean, we would not have anywhere near the same personality if we were born in the Amazon without any humans around. And our experience in itself would be completely different. It would almost be like an emptiness, because there would be no thoughts, because we had never learned language. So it would just be somewhat of a being-ness, if you think about it. It would just be this kind of empty, almost innocent awareness, beingness, moving through reality, moving through life. But there would be no idea of judgments of this should be this way, this isn't right, or resistance, or even pain in the same way that we experience it now. So much of what we experience is created from cultural conditioning, societal conditioning, and beliefs that we've been instilled. But none of that is actually. Most of that has actually not been experienced by ourselves. They just hold as beliefs. And so since we have this conundrum of not knowing what reality really is, I mean, you can say all you want about science and atoms and or religion or God, but in truth, at our core, we all know that we don't really know what this is. We don't know what existence is. We don't know what reality is. We don't know why we're here. We don't know what the point is, etc. So because of this, we had to fill in the hole with something. We couldn't just walk around, because, how well can you survive if you're walking around acting like you don't know what anything is, acting like you don't know what's going on, We have to act like we do so that we seem solid, so that we seem real. And that is exactly why the ego gets created. The ego gets created because it gives us this sense of, okay, this is me, this is real, this thing is real and it's me. But this is a cause of a lot of suffering because it's founded on a lie, and it's founded on a covering up of, holy shit, what is reality? What am I doing here? What is this? So there's this not knowing, this openness, this emptiness, this kind of peculiar, mysterious essence to reality. And it's really not efficient for, say, business or raising kids or doing well in school, making friends, etc. if you're constantly, you're constantly in this kind of wavy, like, I don't know what this is, like what is reality, this openness. If you're constantly in this, it's very difficult to succeed socially. So we had to form a solid self, this sense of self to relate from, to create relationships from. And that is exactly what the ego is. So the ego at its core is a delusion, it's an illusion. And the problem is that we don't realize that we created it and that we're doing it. So we're literally generating it. And it's all unconscious because we picked it up at a very young age. But we're essentially doing this self, this ego. We're creating it. And the problem is that we don't know that it's not real. So yes, it works as a tool for social interactions. Like, I can be me, you can be you, we can have a conversation. You can toss me the ball, etc. But the problem is that when we come back home at night, or when we try to sit alone in a room for 30 minutes to an hour with our minds and just be peaceful and just breathing, it doesn't work because we're still attached to this separate sense of self, this ego. We still have all these stories coming in, all these thoughts, all these emotions that are just kind of like, you could think of it like a tape recorder stuck on repeat. It's just, there's no one around, there's no one listening, but we're still going through these cycles. So this is very problematic because we can never find this just being, this piece of just being, this piece of just resting in nothingness. Why is it so hard to just sit and breathe and just feel and just be a human being sitting there breathing? But no, usually we have a cascade of thoughts and emotions and stories and ideas. And this goes so deep that, it really takes a lot of study and inspection to see. But if you really think about it, a great example is like, put yourself in the situation that you were born in Iran instead of the place you were born, or you grew up in Japan or had these parents. Like, you can see that you would be a totally different person, and everything that you hold unique and personal and special to yourself now would be irrelevant if you were born in a different culture or a different, you were born in China or you were born in the rainforest. So as much as we attach to these things that we find personal, they're really not. And it's not that it's bad, it's just that it causes unnecessary suffering, and it's good to know that it's not real. And so the work for all of us who want to get free of this is to deeply contemplate this question: who am I? What am I? Who are these thoughts? Where are these thoughts coming from? Are they really me? As much as they feel like they're mine and they're coming from me, are they really? How personal are they really? They feel super personal, but what does that actually mean? And what am actually I? Like, what is it personal to? So this is the work of freeing ourselves from the ego, and it's not a on and off thing. It's more like a spectrum. Like, the most enlightened human being on the planet you could put at 1,000, and the most unconscious, ignorant human being you could put at 1. And the more that we question ourselves and examine ourselves and study ourselves, is the more that we move up that spectrum. So doing work like meditation and enlightenment work and contemplation is very powerful for dissolving and chipping away at the ego. Again, the ego is not bad. It can be used as a great tool for survival, but we just have to know that it's a tool and that it's not true and it's not real, and deeply question our thoughts and our mind and what it's telling us, and realize that we're creating everything. Nothing is coming from outside. It's all reactions or stories or even hallucinations and imaginations that we're generating. So we're fully responsible for our reality. We're fully responsible for our feelings and emotions. And yeah, we can just keep going deeper and deeper into this freedom. I hope this was a helpful episode to help understand the ego better. There will definitely be more videos on this topic. Wishing you a beautiful day and a beautiful week. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate your ears and your willingness to explore these topics. Much love. Aho.